Guys, a quick update on the campaign trail. Huge thank you to everyone who came out. About 250 people came out to support me with my peaceful protest outside Ballymullen Barracks. And now I feel now, in my opinion, that this barracks now, that, you know, the HSE are looking to buy the land there to extend the hospital and the hospital services in University Kerry. And in my opinion, I feel that this should be sold to Kerry University Hospital, because look, we see there this morning that in the month of May alone there was over 235 patients on trolleys, and you know, the hospital is too small. You know, it's understaffed, under-resourced with nurses. It's, you know, nurses are just doing a fantastic job. And you know, Ballymullen Barracks now, the land is more suitable now, in my opinion, to, you know, to extend Kerry University Hospital. And we need to look after our own. And, you know, huge thank you to Jacob McSweeney. He's the independent candidate going for the local elections on Friday. And to Mary Fitzgibbon, she's going, she's from Ballymacalligot, she's going representing Europe in Ireland South. And to Eddie Punch from Clare, who's representing Ireland South as in Europe. And also to Finbar Cronin, an independent candidate for the Newmarket area from Cork. He came down to support us. A lot of people came from Castleisland, Knocknagoshel, Brosna, Scartaglen, Kilcummin and Fireys, and there was the majority of the people were from Tralee Town itself. So I want to say a huge thank you to everyone. And you know, people, it's a democracy, and you know, peaceful protests, you know, are a great way of just showing the government, Roderick O'Gorman and you know, Taoiseach Simon Harris and Micheál Martin astonished that we the Irish people and Kerry people are going to stand up now and fight for our town. Huge disappointment within the crowd that Pa Daly, you know, of Sinn Féin didn't show up, or our Minister Norma Foley of the town. Like, you know, I keep going back to this agenda that they're all being bought and bribed. Like, and even the other budding candidates running for the Tralee electoral area, now people, keep them in mind. They were not going to stick up for ye. They wanted this asylum, Ballymullen Barracks, in my opinion, used as an asylum centre for their own town. And, you know, people came out with passion. Like Mary Fitzgibbon, people got a great insight into what she believes in. She's very pro-life. She said from birth to tomb, which I thought was a great statement. There was a guy, Con from Arda, he came up to outside the Dáil to my protest, and he also came to this protest as well. But, you know, then on Sunday night we had a fantastic crowd in Knocknagoshel for the Tidy Towns quiz held in O'Connor's bar. And like, it was great for the village because, you know, people went to the two bars. There's only two bars in our village, Walsh's Pub and O'Connor's. So it was a fantastic night where the community got together and, you know, had a great night. Now, people are asking me now on the doorstep, Michelle, what are you going to do for us if we elect you into Kerry County Council? So look, I've said from the get-go, I'm going to be your voice. So the things I'd like to do for ye, the great people of the Castleisland electoral area, I suppose the one thing we're short of here is housing and planning. And, you know, I was sitting down with a lovely family last night while I was canvassing, and their own son, you know, on a farm in my own village, my own area of Knocknagoshel, their own son couldn't get planning permission on their farm and had to buy an old house across the road to do it up, which he did a fantastic job. But his brother now wants to build a house on the family land. And I said, look, if I get into Kerry County Council, I am going to, you know, address all these issues that farmers, sons or daughters, or anyone that owns land should be allowed, their children should be allowed to build houses on it. Because, in my opinion, the planning system in Kerry County Council needs to be completely, you know, rehauled and reshaped, because it's not, in my opinion, fit for purpose. You know, we need to start housing our own. And, you know, all this social housing that's, you know, that's in Castleisland, the new estate, these houses now need to be given to our own our own people of Castleisland. Then, I'm very deeply saddened to think that there's only one coroner in covering Kerry, Cork and Limerick. And when somebody dies in a family, it's so traumatic and devastating for the family. And there's families in Kerry now waiting over 7 and 8 or 9 days because there's no coroner. Coroner is either gone on holidays or whatever, or is out sick, or I don't know what's wrong, but the coroner isn't available. Surely be to God, with all the people in the country, that we couldn't get a few more coroners to speed up the process, because this is very traumatic for families. And in my opinion, this is a disgrace and should be rectified immediately. Because as I said, this is very traumatic and sad time for most families, and these have young children and everything that have families left behind, and we owe our dignity to these people that have passed on, and not to leave them, in my opinion, in morgues for a week or 9 days. It's just not right. Then another thing, the government have come out now and said that they're giving 30 million to improve the roads in the country. They must have really heard me harping on about the roads in Lyra Compon, Brusna, Knocknagoshel, Guineagilla, Curra and Ballyfinane and Cordal and Fireys. But Kerry County Council are going to be, I believe, should be getting 1.9 million. Now, in my opinion, if I was an elected councillor, I would be saying, right, well, we need to split that amount between every parish in the county. This shouldn't be just given into the likes of Tralee or Killarney, or the Kilgarvan highway roads. This should be given out and distributed equally. And this brings me on now to, as well, I've just noted myself there in Barrack Street in Castleisland, there's been work carried on there for it's nearly going on 3 weeks. And the council workers are not to be blamed here. And because, in my opinion, they're doing fantastic work. But what are the councillors doing that they're giving these jobs out and they're taking 3 weeks when another contractor would have these blown out in probably 4 days, in my opinion. And I saw myself firsthand. I heard one day councillor workers getting dogs abuse from a member of the public, and I said, that's not right. These men are only doing their job. The buck stops with Kerry County Council and the elected councillors. So if I was elected into Kerry County Council, I'd be highlighting all these issues, because these men that are out on the roads working for the council, they have families and they have wives and children to support, and they're just doing their job. Well, there's other people in cushy jobs in an office, and the elected councillors to represent the area. In my opinion, they all seem to be doing nothing, right? For what they're doing, and the roads. I'm the only candidate going around with 2 spare wheels in the boot of my car. I've had that many punctures, and I'm seeing firsthand the state of the roads. So I don't know what some of the staff are doing inside in Kerry County Council, that they can't see that our roads are a disgrace, and we need to be pushing for more money for infrastructure. Huge thing there now is we haven't enough of doctors in Kerry, particularly in the Castleisland electoral area, to cover the amount of people that actually need to see GPs. And I'd like, as a councillor, to work with these current GPs and try and enhance doctors to come back from Perth and places like that into our own towns and communities. And then the farmers, I had Eddie Punch there. In fairness, he came to the protest outside Ballymullen Barracks, and he's very pro farming. And the farmers, in my opinion, are getting an awful raw deal with all the red tape. And the council, as a councillor, we need to look and listen to the farmers, and we need to be far more proactive in the way we deal with them. How can farmers get ahead when the Department of Agriculture won't even answer the phone to them? Something has to change in that culture. Their secretary's being paid to answer phones. if I had someone working for me and they didn't answer the phone, you know, wouldn't you give out to them and say you're not doing their job? So like that whole, in my opinion, corruption whereby they're blocking farmers from getting their payments and their other issues sorted, you know, has to be changed. So there are a few things now that I would do if I was elected as a councillor. So look, I'm Michelle Keane. I'm keen on my county, and like people are saying, you know, we won't see you now for another 5 years. Will you be like the rest of them? Well, I can promise you one thing, guys. If you elect me to Kerry County Council, you'll be sick of seeing my face, because I will highlight all your legitimate complaints and I will fight with every ounce of fibre in my body for your cause. So look, give me the opportunity, guys, and vote me in and vote number 1 on Friday, and I will have your back. I, Michelle Keane, am keen on my county, and I'm asking you, the great people of the Castle Island electoral area, to come out and vote number 1 for me on Friday. Gora Mila Mahagiv.